Howdy, y'all. I am back with another tutorial here for Grand Tactician Civil War. These are I think I've dubbed them the how do I fill in the blank, whatever it is you're trying to do, videos, because the game is getting closer to version 1.0. Who knows when it'll happen, but the game is more polished. And I've done a series of these for the tactical battles, but not for the campaign itself, which to me is really the greatest part of a great game. So we'll talk about how to do that if you are new to the game, or if you joined it and then left and now you're back. Well, welcome back, and I'll show you where we are. I should mention that I'm doing this now. This is the development patch in the early access build. I don't remember exactly what number it is. I think it's 0.87 something or 0.88 something like that. So we're not quite to 0.9. I know that, but we are getting there. All right. So before I get started with the campaign, there's some things you probably want to make sure are set, but you don't have to set them the way that I do. But I'll show you how I do it. Battles, I don't really want to lose an entire day. A lot can happen in that time. And so I bring it down to about 10 hours. I'm pretty much just cutting in half whatever they recommend. I mean, every 12 days in campaign, that's probably closer to okay. But I would look more to, well, that's not quite a week. But whatever, about a week. I wouldn't want to lose more than that, depending on what's going on. Sometimes a week quite literally flies by. Other times it's like, geez, man, there's a lot that happened there. This one, I really don't know whether to keep it on or off. I've had it. I read different things on the forums. I don't have a strong view of this. Oh, I know some people hate feuds. I think they're great. I kind of wish that there were, excuse me, more feuds or more random events in battle that kept units from executing what they're supposed to do. I understand the reason why people can't read or don't like the historical fonts, but I say go ahead and add them. If it's a problem, it's a problem. By default, I find the campaign map speed is too fast, and the battle map scroll speed is way too fast. So I usually crank that one down quite a bit. You can adjust as you'd like. The UI scale. Now, I don't think I've seen this before. I actually don't know what this does. Maybe I should raise it, but I'm not going to. What I am going to do, what am I going to do? I'm going to start a campaign. That's what this video is about. I guess I should have mentioned that at the outset, is how to get started with the campaign. You do whatever one you like. I encourage you to play both sides. I played CSA quite a bit at the outset, and then I did a Union campaign. I really liked it, and I would definitely do it again. To me, playing as a CSA is the greater challenge, and so why do something that's easy if you can make it more difficult? So, right, you choose your side, and then the difficulty switches to the other side. So if you're gonna play Union, you set up what the CSA does. Play CSA, you set up what the Union is. So we'll pull no punches here. Let me actually back up a second. So you could choose to have either the historic policies or random ones. I've tried to choose them for the AI, so they take what I think are like the best three for whatever side I'm playing against. And if you want to know like how good are they, you can just hover over them and they'll tell you. But industrialization, I think on both sides is almost an automatic take. I don't know if they're going to keep this when I switch back. I have a feeling they won't. I guess I'll just try it. So now if I go to CSA and I go back, yeah, see, so they're not going to keep it. So you might just want to pick a side, pick your policies, and then go from there. I don't... actually, those are not terrible. I mean, oh wait, we don't want historic. Those are pretty terrible. But anyways, you could see what they get. I guess this one is okay as policies go. Reducing the CSA's slave workforce. Kansas, a free state. This one is better than I thought it used to be. First of all, if the union has it, maybe this is an argument that for the union, maybe, yeah, I would say 2 of these are good. Kansas, a free state, is good. Industrialization is good. I think Indian Wars is one of the worst policies on any side because it buffs both the union and the CSA. Right? Experience in union and CSA is +5, and so what the union gains out of that is that their morale goes up +5. I'd like to deselect that, but I don't think, no matter how many times I click on random, it's really going to matter. But because support matters for recruitment, for movement, for other things, ensuring that you're going to get Kansas, great. More support there, great. It's not a huge population, but it's got something. But the +5 support in all free states, that's going to be a very nice buff. Go West. I don't see too much to this. I mean, northern support in California and Oregon is great at +25. Population is plus 20, and you can recruit there. But my recollection of playing this is that there's relatively little to get. So even increasing the population by +20% and the support by +25 in both, it's starting from such a low threshold that I don't know. I don't quite get it. But this has a lot of little things, right? Because the trade capacity of the Santa Fe and Oregon trails doubles. All right, so this one I would say is not terrible. It does a lot of little things, and I'd certainly prefer this over Indian Wars. If I was picking a strong opponent, or if I was playing myself, this one is certainly over that. Support abolitionism. Union will be kept in check. Discourage Southern support in all states within the Union -10. I don't really like this one. Just from the perspective of what we get. I mean, compare this to Apostles of Disunion for the CSA, which I'm going to do shortly. I mean, they get +20 in all slave states, which includes the border states that are within the Union. I don't know. I don't really care that much for it. I mean, Southern, and then assuming that the North is going to have to go into the South and beat its armies there and occupy it at the very least, it's going to make it harder to operate there. So I'm not sure that I'm on board with this one. I guess presumably it's also increasing support in the free states for the Union, but it doesn't say that as clearly as it does with Apostles of Disunion. It's just hinted at that sympathies within the Union will be kept in check. All right, whatever. Enforced Neutrality Act. Relations with European nations greatly improved. I think they should tell us what it is. What does greatly improved mean? Because I don't know. If they're just saying that the chance of Union intervention against the Union is -10, I'd pass. At least as the game currently stands, I've never had this trigger on either side of the campaign. So I don't really see why that would be something that's worth a policy. I also don't think, I think there are too many diplomacy policies, and it's really not worth the investment for each stage. So I mean, again, it's better than Indian Wars, but I would say not as good as Go West. Breadbasket. I kind of like it. It's probably there with Go West as a candidate for my third after industrialization and probably Kansas, a free state. This one and Go West are on my mind. And probably after that, the Underground Railroad. Again, the relations +10 isn't really what matters to me. It's that we can have advanced agricultural policies. We're going to have a big army. We're going to have a big population. Of course, in the actual Civil War, the bumper crops of grain and so forth were hugely important for diplomatic relations. And I also don't think... I don't think that relations with Europe should be treated the same way, as if all European countries kind of had the same views. So, there might be a chance of some countries intervening, but not others. I don't know. This one's okay. Again, industrialization, I just think there's really not a great reason to do it. This one is not terrible either. Right, reducing the amount. This is one I wouldn't want to play against, so that might make it a good policy as the CSA. But I'm not really worried about the ships. I am more worried about the loss of weapons and decreasing CSA national morale by 5. Yeah, that's not bad either. I don't, again, for me, it's not quite up to the level of Go West or Breadbasket, but it's probably better than abolitionism, which I still think is the worst. Neutrality Act and Underground Railroad, this all seem like bottom tier. Union Pacific Railroad. So we're going to Atlantic and Pacific Coast, increase trade Western states. So what do we get? We're getting the Union Pacific Railroad constructed. Union controlling trade to the Pacific Coast. Union credit rating +2. Railroad transport capacity and construction speed +25%. This is another good one. This one is kind of it's reminds me of Go West and kind of the Union Pacific Railroad and Go West might jive together. It's one of the things I wonder if the devs will do, that if you if you choose certain policies, they'll be maybe buffed or nerfed depending on the other policies you choose. But this one seems to align kind of with Go West, not just in that it's talking about the Pacific, but that it's a lot of little things, and it's pretty easy to see the benefit. I don't think any of them are super overwhelming, but I think they're okay. So that's my view of those folks. My views. So from I think the very first video I did when I did, I think it was like this. It was an overview of the policies. I had a very low opinion of Old Dominion then, because it seemed like all we got was that Virginia would join, but Virginia joined the CSA anyways. So who cares? This kind of explains why it matters. Yeah, no matter what you do, whether you select this or not, Virginia is going to join the CSA. The question is kind of how they do it. So Virginia, which is a big state in terms of population, geographically, it's probably going to be facing down a lot of Union pressure, invasions. You're going to have plus 10% support there, so it's going to make it harder for the Union, easier for you to move in Virginia. It's going to allow you to recruit more volunteers, and it lowers Union morale by -5. So it's not bad. I'm not sure that it's a must-take, but we'll get there. Kansas, a slave state. This is another one that I was like, why would you ever take this? Because it seemed like if you chose it and the Union has Kansas a free state, the tie always goes to the Union on this policy. And as far as I know, it always goes to the Union on this. And since I'm keeping the Union with their historical policies, because I think they have 2 pretty good ones, and that should be a challenge. But this one explains why this policy is still good. I think you could justify, in fact, I would say take Kansas a slave state definitely over the Old Dominion, because you're going to get half of the benefit in Virginia just by taking Kansas a slave state. You're going to get +5. But it's not just +5 in Virginia. It's in all slave states, which is the CSA plus the border states, some of which may join you, Missouri, Kentucky, others which won't, but you may be operating in the case of Maryland. Probably not going to be doing too much operating in Delaware, but maybe. And you get the massive +25 bonus to CSA support in Kansas. Again, what troops there are there to recruit, it'll help a little bit. But to me, you're actually choosing this for the blanket +5 support in all slave states. So if I had to choose between those two, I'm choosing Kansas slave state. Slavery to the West. Settle in Arizona, New Mexico, Southern support +25, population +25, recruitment allowed. So again, Arizona and New Mexico have relatively little population in them, and so boosting it by 25%, yeah, but it's from a very low base, and so it's not going to go that much higher, right? If you're worried about optimal policies or thinking about optimal policies, this one's underwhelming. But it is kind of like the inverse of the Union one, which I said was not a bad Like, if there's a flex spot in the policies you choose, this one can be a contender. Trade capacity from Texas, Western states territories doubled. Texas has a higher upgrade level in its ports. So it's a number of small things which are all good. All right, this is a candidate, I think, for an OP CSA policy. I mean, plus 20 support in all slave states. Again, that's the CSA and the border states, whether they join you or not. And of course, I don't think Maryland and Delaware will ever join, but that's just a monster. And because we are kind of fighting on the defensive, you know, the fact that the Union support is going to be increased by plus 10, like, that is good for them, and that is kind of the negative, which is that, you know, there's going to be more support for the Union there. But the CSA, you can more or less win pretty much sitting on the defensive. If you get Missouri and Kentucky in, you keep West Virginia from being formed, you can go a little ways into the southern parts of the Union, you know, just cross the border and take some stuff. But that's it. You don't have to go that much further. You can, and if you're making invasions at that point, you're probably winning anyways. And so the fact that you have less support in the Union isn't going to matter too much. At least I haven't noticed that it does. So this is, if you want to play optimally, I would say that this is certainly a must-take. Filibustering, I think this is one I have low opinion of. Latin America, Southern military experience by plus 5. Cuba will be under Southern control, increasing trade and allowing recruitment. I mean, it's okay. Right? Military experience, all right, fine. As I recall, there aren't that many troops you can get out of Cuba, and I'm not sure what the trade value is and whether it's really worth it. King Cotton, I think, is quite strong. I don't know that it's at a level of must take, but it's quite strong. Support in all slave states plus 5. Actually, I think I definitely just lied to you. I forgot that support in all slave states was plus 5. That's giving you the same benefit as Kansas a slave state, which I think I said that was almost worthy of a consideration of the third policy. European intervention, I don't really care so much about that. Again, plus 20, all right, fine. I don't know that we'll ever get there, but it's worth it for the support. And if you want to take the later stage agricultural policies, it's worth it. So it's a strong policy. I would prefer this over slavery to the West, and I guess Kansas a slave state. I think I would prefer those options. All right, this one is, if there's an OP policy, I think it's this one, because the CSA needs manpower. Yeah, it's a lower starting threshold than the Union. The Union gets a 20% buff. We get a 25% buff if we're going to play it, and I am going to play this campaign as the CSA. So we need it. Yeah, national morale takes a hit, but it is what it is, and it opens up level 3 and 4 industrialization, makes possible the abolition of slavery later on. So if the Union did choose policies that undermined the economic benefits of slavery, you're going to get rid of it anyways. And so that's something. Yeah. Arms agents, it's not bad, but I'm also thinking it's not as good as I thought it was. So what I like about it is that the weapons made available is increased by 50%. The Springfield weapon type, I really don't care that much for, because a lot of the stats, and I haven't gone into the text files or whatever they are, as some have, and looked at the actual values, but the qualitative explanations between what they do are pretty much the same as, I think, mixed muskets, and I'm pretty sure reboard muskets are, they have better range. I think their range goes to 400, and I think the Springfields by default have a range of 250. Yeah, there are other concerns as well. I don't recall there being a huge difference in accuracy between the reboard muskets, the mixed muskets, and the Springfields. Maybe there was, and I'm just not remembering that. But for me, I'm usually looking at the range, and I'm willing to trade off some of the accuracy for greater range. So the Springfield weapon types don't seem to matter that much to me. Union morale -5. All right, it's not bad. You know, if you can take it, get it down. So this one's okay. Alliance of the Natives. Yeah, this one is probably a candidate for some of the worst policies that the CSA could have. It might be aligned with filibustering. It's quite bad. I mean, there's so little in the way of volunteers from Indian Territory. Yeah, you're going to boost the support, so you're going to get more, and it's going to double the number of volunteers. But it's from a very low base. And once they're expended, you're not going to get them back that quickly. And so I see this as a one-off with relatively little benefit. Again, just compare this to something like industrialization, which raises it. This is 100%, maybe a little bit more because the support is raised in a territory with a very small population. But industrialization is going to give you plus 25% throughout. And the numbers are much higher. And so if you just weigh that against industrialization, Alliance of the Natives is pretty low. Not worth taking. Southern Pacific, again, it's kind of like the Union policy. In a lot of ways, it kind of mirrors what the Union does. It's a number of good things. I would say kind of small, good things. Railroad construction speed, I think, is a fairly big deal, though. In my last campaign, I couldn't find any to build that were within the CSA territory. I couldn't find many. I think that was it. But again, credit rating, great. Railroad transport capacity, very useful. Construction speed, plus 25. It's a solid pick. So I'm going to get down to business now and actually pick policies for this campaign. I'm not doing the uber we're screwed yet. I'm giving the Union, decent set of policies, the historic ones. We're going to put this on very hard, but I'm going to try to choose some of the ones I think are stronger. Industrialization, yes. Apostles of Disunion, yes. Do I want King Khan? I think so. I think for the +5 support, I mean, it's either that or Kansas, a slave state. But I'm pretty sure that the Union's policy is Kansas is a free state. So I'm not going to get Kansas overall. So then I'm just weighing greater support in Kansas, which I'm never going to take, versus better agricultural policies later, which I may or may not take. But yeah, I'm going to go with it. And that is it, right? We are spring 1861, and we're going to get started. And that's going to do it for this video. This was just policy selection at this stage in the game. Here, I'll show you what happens when we click this. So the bottom here, you can see above the loading time bar, it tells you kind of the historical effect of the policies you selected. Some of it's true, some of it's alternative history. Yeah, so that last one is kind of alternative history. I'd still kind of like to see, just the historical lines about the Union's policies also, so we know a fuller picture of things. Come on, let's load in here. This is supposed to be the end of the video. There we go. Maybe. The game usually does load fairly quick. I have stuff running in the background. All right. I know. All right. Yeah, we're gonna continue here. So we get this, you get some headlines and stuff, and then you get the explanations on the right-hand side. So that is going to do it for this intro to how you get started with the campaign, and we'll come back with others, take a look at the early stages of a campaign, the kind of quiet stage right before war breaks out. I'll take a look at building up armies, getting your policy set, all that good stuff that you ought to do early on. It actually does kind of matter for how you hit the ground running, but we'll leave that for future videos. Hope this helped you. Hope you're enjoying the game or about to begin enjoying the game. Again, for those who like these kind of historical strategy games that also give you tactical battles, I mean, it's usually either this or Total War, which, you know, I like a lot. I have nothing bad to say about the Total War franchise, but there aren't that many other options. And as you will see, if you're not familiar with this game, how it stacks up against others, Ultimate General, Civil War, this is going to give you a lot more in the background, in the campaign, that you can do differently on both sides. So look forward to that in future videos.